Alright, this is the Midnight Bow finished. Clean, stylized, and game ready. Quick notes, since the last part, I did a small cleanup pass and fixed the scale. Nothing major. I just want the mesh solid before UVs and texturing a substance painter. Today, I will break down the exact workflow, UVs, low poly baking, and texturing in Adobe Substance Painter. If your textures have ever looked suspicious, it's usually your UVs or your bake. Sometimes both. We are fixing that today. Yeah. I know I went MIA, life happened, but we are back and we are continuing the Midnight Bow series properly. No long talk, let's head straight to work. There really isn't any rules when it comes to UV unwrapping. It's just that don't put your seams in areas that are visible to the eye. For me, what I follow is this. Stylized doesn't mean messy. Low distortion on big curved surfaces because gradient hates stretched UVs. Consistent texel density so nothing looks blurry next to something sharp. Simple, clean, and finishable. Hero areas stay unique. When I mean hero areas, I mean anything you want to stand out. Repeated parts can be mirrored or stacked if only they are truly identical and we don't need unique paints. Another thing I like to do is having a backup for my work so that in case I stumble onto any problem, I will always have a backup to fall to. You can either save as, you can save as and incremental save as you like, or you could just come here and duplicate collection, and then you can call the original collection backup. Okay, and then hide it. And as for this one, maybe you can now call it export. Or if you have the hyper, or if you are doing the high poly to low poly workflow, then you have to name this collection underscore high or underscore low, as the case may be. Okay, so let's proceed. So now I'm going to click on the strings. Before UV unwrapping, I will have to make sure that I have my modifiers applied. Okay, and this bowl, I'm not going to use the high poly to low poly workflow because there really isn't any alpha maps or scratches or notches on this bowl because looking at Genshin art style, it's simple, clean, and stylized. So there isn't any need for extra stuff except when it's needed. So hide that. As for this grid, I'm going to apply the mirror modifier and reduce the source by one step, then apply. This, I'm only going to apply the mirror modifier for, for the Y, and I'm removing the X because it's going to be repeated. There's no unique paints from both sides, okay? Apply the subsoft, I'll turn it 1, okay, hide it. Next. So same drill, I'm just going to go around doing same thing, checking the mesh, the one I want to be unique and the one I know that I can just play, okay? Okay, so yeah, so this is what I have. And after I finish doing the UV, I'm going to mirror them back and, export to Substance Painter. So here, I'm going to take this, save my work, I'll go to the UV editing workspace. So I'm going to UV. But before UV, let's check out our mesh. This is just a total of 6K tries. So if I have it mirrored and all that stuff, I think give or take, I should be having 12K or 13K, which is very, very good. Okay. So press Ctrl E, maxim, and then I'll select it, unwrap. Okay. Hide. Let's do this. Same drill, no big deal. Ctrl E, maxim, unwrap. So for this one, this is going to be stretched. Let's check. Stretch time. Not bad. Not bad. So I think this is good. There's still a way to make it much more better if I am so picky about it, but this is good. This is good stuff. So I'm going to hide it. This one, just going to put a cut. After 2. This is good. There's this area. Okay, that's fine. Hide. You can see that there's really no rules in UV unwrapping, okay? This, I don't think this is too much information. This is useless stuff. I don't need to pause off. This, let's see. What's important, so pause off. I'm just going to cut this part, Control E, maximum AU on R. Okay. And this is going to be tricky, but I'm just going to maxim at various sharp edges while holding down Shift and Alt and clicking. Okay. See. Control E, maxim. Okay, we still want more. Here, here, here. Let's repeat this in action for this side. Control E, maxim. A, here too. Control E, maxim. So press A, U, and R. Yep, this is good. U, unwrap. Yep, this is fine. Finish to hide. This won't be a stretch. Just select it, U, unwrap. We haven't stretched a simple fix. I'll go to a selection mode, select the edges over here. Okay, so let's unwrap. Nice. Okay, finish to hide. This won't be any sort of trouble. Oh, I see. There are some useless faces here that we're not going to see. So I'm going to delete them. E. See, there's something called, I think I can press Ctrl Shift M to mirror my selection. Ah, it's too wide. Awesome. Yep, it did. It worked. Ctrl E, maxim. Awesome stuff. Aha. So for this, same drill, select Ctrl E, maxim AU, unwrap. Hey, did I unwrap the previous mesh? I didn't unwrap. Cool. So now we have all the mesh unwrapped. Now it's time to have them packed. Okay, packing. We'll give ourselves enough padding so our texture does not bleed when you zoom out. Texture bleeding is how you end up with mystery sims. So let's do that. I'm going to use a plugin for this, but if you don't have the plugin, you can as well just come to UV and just say pack like that. Okay. So why the packing is important? Let me just explain this for you. So if I come to my material, let's create a new material. Let's call it checker. Okay. So here I'm going to look for image texture, and I'll create a new image. Let's call it checker. And I want it to be 2K. So there I'll say color grid, and I'll say image. And you're not going to see it. You just need to hold down Z and move to material preview, and here you have it. So I'm going to select everything. Should select this one last, and then Control L, and I'll say link materials. You see, some are so tiny, some are big, some are tiny, some are big. Look at this. This is way too tiny. So, but look at this now. If I select everything and I press A, and then let's use the default Blender pack. Let's say Pack Island. And see. So now let's check it out. Can you see? Those, some are still big, some are still small. That's why I like using the plugin for this one. So the plugin I'm going to use is called UV Pack Master. Okay. So go to my edit mode, make sure everything is there, and I'm going to enable normalize scale. And then session is enabled, that's fine. And I'm just going to click back to single tile. You see the difference. You see? Now everything is nice and equal. So the texture density of this mesh is sweet. So now I can now go and export my mesh from Blender to Substance Painter. Okay, save your work, guys. But before exporting, I need to make sure everything is mirrored back. So you can go and do the traditional way of adding the mirror modifier. That's fine. But me, I use the plugin, the box cutter, and add this plugin. I just press X and a mirror. Well, not to waste time, so I'll just select everything. Just select the one that has the mirror modifier last, and I'll press Ctrl L, and I'll say link, rather copy modifiers, and voila. This one doesn't need the X mirror, it needs the Y mirror. So let's disable the X. Okay, so next thing, before exporting, I need to make sure that the areas that need to be sharp are sharp, okay? Because your textures are going to look horrible in Substance Painter. Something like this I will need to select all of this and I'll do E and I'll say marker sharp. You see, this is nice. So I will go around and make sure every other thing that needs to be marker sharp is sharp and the one that needs to be smooth shading is smooth. Oh, what happened to this? So I think you see why I said the backup file is necessary. So I'm just going to delete this. I'll go to the backup file. No need to start trying to fix it. Here we have it. So I will duplicate it, right click, and then I'll move it to the bow export collection, and then we can turn off our backup. So now the meta trim, let's see. Okay, so I don't want the X mirror. Okay, so we'll apply the X mirror, and then the sub stuff we want a count of 1, and then oh, this is much better. So now I need to UV this one. Okay, so back to the UV workspace. Okay, so just press U. Unwrap. Let's see, it's cool. Let's give it some material checker. Let's check it to the rest. How does it look? Now, so select everything, and then we are going to have to pack once more. Bravo. So back to where was I? Okay, yeah. Here's I need to be sharp, needs to be marker sharp. Something like this needs to be marker sharp. See the difference? Cool. Same thing with these two. What do you mark sharp? Okay, so there you have it. So now I'm gonna do something because I would like everything to be a single object before exporting to Substance Painter. So I'll select everything in the bow collection. I'll shift it to duplicate, right click, and I'll do Ctrl J to join it as one object. And then I'll say bow underscore export. Okay. So we can bring it out of our collection. So we can hide this one. This now is not going to be our exporting mesh, you see? Nice. Everything joined together, no problem. Let's check out the UV workspace. Nice. So now go to File, Export, FBX. And then another thing you need to make sure you check is that limits to only selected objects. If not, you are going to export everything in your Blender scene, okay? So limits only to selected, and then let's apply, make sure apply modifier is enabled too, and then you click on export over that. Save your work, guys. Now let's head over to Substance Painter. So I have my Adobe Substance 3D Painter open. Go to File, New, and I'm going to use this template, ASM PBR Metallic Roughness Starter Assets. And then I'll click on Select, and I'll navigate to my Midnight Bow. Now load it in, and my resolution, I'm going to use 2K for now, and normal map format. If your game engine that you're going to use is Unreal Engine, DirectX is fine, but if it's Unity, then you need to change to OpenGL. So I'm going to use DirectX, and leave every other stuff to be in their default settings, and then click OK. Next thing is baking our textures. This is not a substance tutorial, so I'm not going to explain the interface and all that stuff, okay? So I'll click on this croissant icon up here. That's baking. Take me to my bake workspace, and then, okay, so let's bake our mesh. If you watch the previous video where I used the high poly to low poly workflow on my Battle Axe series, important point to note is that there is no high poly for this bowl, no sculpt, no alpha, so we're not doing high poly to low poly workflow, okay? But we are baking because we want mesh maps. They give Substance Painter information that makes stylized texturing faster and cleaner. So baking my normals, even if I'm not going to use, I just like baking normals, right? Workspace normal for sure, very necessary for clean gradients. Position 2 for clean gradients. I didn't make any ID, so we're going to ignore this. Ambient occlusion for gentle depth and contact shadow. Then thickness for extra maxing contrast. So we're making just this 5, okay? So I'm going to change this to 2K. Laptop can take 4K, but if yours can't take, you can please go lower. And then I'm going to say use low poly mesh as high poly mesh, okay? Anti-aliasing 16 is fine by me, but you can use 4 or 2 depending on how strong your computer is. And then just again, nothing else. So I'm just going to bake. So let's see how it looks like, okay? So I'm going to come here and I'll say base color, there is no base color. Okay, my AO is fine. Curvature is fine. Okay, thickness. Okay. Okay, so my bake is beautiful. Okay. So time for texturing. So I don't know what exactly material this bow is made up of, but I'm just going to use my initiative to, walk through this. Once again, this is not a substance painter tutorial. So, okay, so for the grip, I'm going to be using a leather material for it. And I'm using a smart material, so I'll just search for leather. I'm going to use this leather. And you see, it's applied to every part of the bow. We don't want that. So while the leather folder is selected, I'm going to add in a black mask. Come to my polygonal fill, and then I'll click on mesh fill and just select this mesh. Okay, so I need to change the body to gold. For my reference, you can see that we have gold. So I will change it as a gold, click on the color code and paste. So while inside the folder, I'll add in a new fill layer and I'll change the color to black. And when the layer is selected, I'm going to add in a black mask. Switch to the brush tool. See. Reduce the size. Big. Let's reduce it some more. Okay, this is fine. And then the hardness, the brush hardness, I'm going to make it almost strong, almost 100%. I can tell that the size is a little big, so I'll scroll up to where I have my size and reduce it some more. I could see that this part did not flow very well, so I think I have to improve it. So I'll switch to 3D to the workflow. So I have to clear my marks, right click and I'll clear marks. Reduce my brush stroke. Let's see. Okay, let's remove the height for now. Then I'll work from here. Let me increase my window a bit so that you see it. So yeah. I'm going to use this part to just looking at my reference, I can see that yep, this part is black. So to use my so I have this, and then I'm going to click on the layer marks. Make sure that it's roughly tagged. Click on the reference if the reference is not there. Make it close tagged. Let's zoom out and see how it looks. It's looking cool. Okay. So next, let's make the black part. So I'm going to add another folder, but please it should not be inside of the grips folder. So let's call this black. And I'm going to add in a new view layer to make it. Well, I'm just going to use black. And then while the folder is selected, I'm going to add in the black layer marks. I'll come to my polygon fill and make sure that object is selected. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. I think, and this. So these are all the mesh that are going to be black. So I click on the layer, then to add the roughness. Still glossy inside. I'm going to add a little color variation to it. So add another new fill layer. I want to change this color to black, just like the previous one. So I'm going to add in the roughness and then just tune it down a bit. Okay, for this layer, I'm going to add in the black marks, but let me change the color. Let me increase the color to the lighter inside. Okay, we'll get back to it. I'll add in the black marks. All the marks is selected. I'm going to add in a generator. So for the generator, I'm going to click and I'll add in, let's look for a dust generator. So I want the color to be almost matching. That newest layer to be base. And then this one, let's see. Okay, let's call it details. Just for now. Because we want to just be subtle. Then for these details, to increase the roughness. So let's see. I'm looking at reference from PRF. And also, there's another reference I have. So this is from Genshin-inspired, and you can see all purple to this part, and then you can go to start design over there. Yeah, so time to add that the golden details. Okay, so the trim on the golden trim on the handle. Okay, so add a new layer, and I'll call this gold trim. Okay, so let me look the color code for this particular gold. Let's have it. Then we'll go back and paste the value over here. Then I want it to be metallic. Then I'll raise metal value to the 1, and then the roughness just around here is fine. Cool. So now the drill by now will add any black marks. And this time around, I'm not going to use the polygon fill or the brush tool. I'm going to use the paint tool. So look what the paint tool is saying. When I click, it's paint. Okay. So that's not what I want. So I'll scroll down to hardness. I increase the hardness to somewhere around here. Let's see. Now it's almost around here. And then let's reduce the size. And then turn on PRF to make sure that's let's use, because I'm using this reference, it's kind of close to Genshin-inspired, kind of, right? Because the one I'm Genshin-inspired, can you see? It has this diagon, this diamond style thing and flow down there. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same thing. So click here, see, it's went here, carried here, down to somewhere around here. It just flowed in like this. Okay, so that's where this point. So I'll click on this point and then sharpen it. Click on this one, sharpen it. Now I can adjust it somewhere around here. This too, somewhere around here. This, don't worry, I'm going to fix it. Let's just leave it here. And then this one, let's click it, and then I'll click on custom, right? So I think this one we might need to remove this. Let's see, and then let's just adjust only this. Let's control Z. I think I might have broken the handle. Okay, cool. So let's remove this one and then this, and adjust. Okay. Let's see if we can adjust this handle as well. The handles are broken. So I have to zoom in to be able to adjust this handle. Okay. Let's look. Okay, cool. So for this, we'll drag it in some more, and then let's adjust its angle as well. Its anchor point. Okay. And as for this one, can you see it has diamond or a pointy head over there? So what I'm going to do is, so when this point is selected, I'm going to reduce the pressure it's at. Okay. Let's see if it's making sense. Too much. Let's just do something like this. And I think I'm still going to reduce the size of this one. I think this is too deep, so take it out. Okay. So I'm done with that and I'll press escape. But I'll go to my brush and then I'll change my alpha. I'll search for diamond. So I have one diamond shape over here and I want it like this. So by holding down control, I'll move my mouse up. I see. So my brush is, the angle is rotating, or you can come here and rotate the angle because I want to see it live. That's why I'm just using the shortcut control and alt. Sorry, control and my mouse up to rotate. And then I will click like this. You see? Voila. So now I can change my alpha back to the default, which is shape, and I'll reduce the strength some more. And then I'll press X to, sorry, this. I want, okay, cool. So I'll click on the purple. I'll click on the purple alpha because I want the black to be visible. Let me see it over here. See like that black around there. So I'm just going to trace. And see that the transition went across like this. Okay. So let's just do that. So I can click for a new point and then do this. Oh, I'm supposed to switch. Okay. Let's increase the size a bit. Something around this satisfying. Let's see. Then we can just, look like that. So, okay. So escape, and we have this. Nice. So for the gold, let's exit. So I'll click on my max and then brush. Let's use the pencil and purple. This is it. And then this part still needs to be gold. So let's create a new collection. Let's call it gold. And then I can duplicate this collection and then move it up. Put it inside this gold collection. And then let's clear max. Okay. In fact, let's remove the max. Okay. So you see. And now on this golden collection, I'm going to add in the black max. And for it, I'll click the polygon fill tool. I want to fill this. I want this. Let's see. Cool. So that's just that. Easy peasy, right? So another thing is let's see. So for this diamond here, let's try something more. In this collection, I'm going to add in a black max. I'm just going to remove this, or instead of that, I can control Z and add in a white max instead. So it's going to leave the textures on it. And for this, I'm going to add it. I'm going to add this, and then okay. So I'll first remove it. So I'll switch to the brush tool, and then I want to paint it back in. Okay. So I'll reduce the brush size, and then it came from somewhere around here. So I would then shift. I will click, 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 and click. So I have the rough shape. But I think I can do better. So let's come again. think this can be like this, or like this. Okay, so let's fix the shape. Okay, so now we can just go ahead and paint the inside. So there you have it. I still feel it's too thick, so let's eradicate some more. Okay, lovely. Zoom out and look at the mesh. How does it look? Let's add this golden trim to our collection, to the good collection. Cool. So the next thing is this purple feather. So I will add a new folder. Let's call it feather. And in this feather collection, let's add a new layer. Let's take the purple color code we had from the undo. And then we'll come back to this folder and paste our value. And now let's add in the black marks. And then we're taking this and this and this and this as well. So you can see that this golden trim is covered, but if you move, because it's working with hierarchy, okay? So if you move this folder under the gold, you see the golden trim is above it, okay? So for this, let's add in another max, and then I want to use the gradient texture feature, okay? Okay, so for the gradient, you can see I have a mixture of purple and black, so I'll make this one black. And then for this layer, I'm going to add in a black max. Now, with the max selected, we add in a generator, and then let's search for gradient. Okay, so we'll say 3D linear gradient. You see, and this gradient, it works with our position map. If you click on material and scroll down to position, you see, right? So if I click on this and I select this, I click on this and I select lighter color, and I click on this and I select darker color, and then let's switch back to, can you see, it flips, okay? So if I go back to position, I'm just using laser B to cycle through, and then I do this, and then for this, I use a lighter color, and then laser M, can you see? Nice gradient. And as for this, we would have to remove the max from it. Yeah, we'd have to make its own, okay? So let's just come up and add a new, you know what, let's Ctrl D and take it up. Okay, so we can delete this one. And this, let's just add the black marks and then select this, and voila, okay? So for this, we'll just make it black. So let's add it to our black. Yep, so let's see. Purple. And, we're missing something here. I think that should be the handle. Yeah, purple. Oh, sorry. And let's see. Oh, I think we're missing, let's just get a bit gold. Yeah, not this one, not this one. Oh yeah, this. So I'm just going to add this kind of golden design over here. Let's use the brush and then let's paint on it. Let's increase the hardness. Okay. And then we want something like this. Okay. Yeah, there's I can see that there is a kind of pattern on it. You can do it if you want to. Same drill, just something like that. So you zoom out and yeah, you have this. Okay, so save your work, guys. And then simple stuff, go to file, export, want to export textures, and then we'll navigate to the folder we want to export it to. Okay, so I'll select the folder and expand my texture side, PNG, PBR metallic roughness, 8 bits. Now, if you leave this, it's going to export the default to 2K, or you can increase it to 4K. But let's stick to 2K. 2K is fine. And I'll click on the material. You can see this was actually a texture created from Blender. I don't want it to be this name, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'll go to texture set list, and I'll click on checker, and let's call it bow. Let's just say midnight. Let's go bow. I think it's too long. Let's just say MB, okay? Midnight bow. So once again, let's export our texture. Okay, I'll click on this, and we want base color roughness metallic. We want normals, but we don't want highlight and emissive. So with that, I can now click on export. So it's going to export to the folder we selected and close. So now I can go back to my Blender. So I'll open my file here. Okay, so I'll go to my shading tab. That shader texture is still here. Now, let's just create a new texture. And then let's say MB. MB. Let's say M for material underscore bow. Okay, let's remove shader texture. We don't need it. Now, while my principal BSDF is clicked, I'll use no Wrangler plugin. It's already enabled. I'll just press Ctrl Shift T and navigate to my directory. And this is where I want to select everything. And voila, here you have it. Nice looking bow. Isn't this wonderful? Easy peasy, right? And that is it, guys. UVs, low to low poly baking, and a little bit of customized texturing inside of Substance Painter. If you want the project files, comment Gumroad and tell me. Next episode, final render or presentation, or do we just jump into another weapon? I'll see you in the next one, guys.